Well, Ross, we thought that last season was a special story, and today is the launch of just another new chapter, isn't it?
Well, I keep thinking my career's reached a pinnacle, and then things happen so this is wonderful. Considering a year ago we didn't know we had a team, and 12 months on we've won the World Championships, and we're now part of Mercedes-Benz return to Grand Prix racing, which I think is great for us as a team, but great for the sport as well. So it just keeps getting better.
You were very used to dealing with pressure and expectation when you were at Ferrari. Last season was very different. Nobody expected Brawn to do what they did when they arrived in Australia necessarily. This year, though, with the backing that you've got and the drivers that you've got, the expectation's going to be high, isn't it? Particularly as you're technically still defending your world title.
Yes. I guess in 2009 it's fair to say everything was a bonus, and that won't be the case this year. But I think you bring your own pressures, and I would have hated to have gone through 2009 not being competitive, even in the circumstances that we found ourselves. So I think there's an intense pressure that we bring on ourselves, an intense pressure that comes from having Michael in the team, and the intense pressure he brings on himself as well to be competitive. So I've never really felt a relief from that pressure, and I enjoy it. It's why we do what we do. So, and I wouldn't say it's easy, but I'm used to it. I've had 10 years of Ferrari to break me into getting used to that pressure.
At the back end of last year, a certain driver was causing you a few headaches. I would imagine in early 2010, another driver is putting a smile back on your face. What's it been like to reunite yourself with Michael?
I mean, obviously it was an opportunity to evolve with the difficulties we're having with Jensen. And out of that disappointment came the elation of getting Michael back in the team. But it wasn't actually until we started working again that a lot of the reminders came back, a lot of the facts came back as to why he's so special. And already working with our engineers, working with our staff, he's been hugely motivational, and he pushes very hard but in a very constructive way. He's very involved with things. He's got lots of searching questions, and clearly his mind is just totally on Formula One now. And for someone like Michael to come back and I hope succeed would be sensational for Formula One and a sensational part of my career.
What's it been like for the guys at the factory? Because it's not just any old driver asking you a question about the car. This is Michael Schumacher asking you a question. I suppose his determination maybe rubs off on everybody else as well.
Yeah, as I say, massively motivational. And they were in awe, I have to say, when I introduced him to people, because people have a perception from a distance. And you don't know Michael until you've worked with him. And but even in the few days he's worked with the staff, particularly with the engineers where he's been closest, they've all been massively impressed by his balance, his determination. I think he's spoken to his race engineer almost every day of the week since he joined us. He calls the guys in the wind tunnel, he calls the guys working on the chassis. So it's been an added element of our preparation to start the season. It's been really good.
Has he almost surprised you that he's got such drive in his 40s, having won 7 world titles?
I shouldn't be surprised knowing him, but it has surprised me, and it's been a very pleasant surprise. And it's just a reminder of what he was like. I mean, after a few years without working with Michael, you forget. But it has been a massive reminder of what made him so special. And I think that's where Nico has a wonderful opportunity, because Nico's not really worked with anyone of Michael's calibre as a teammate. He's not had a serious teammate really in Formula One of that level, and I think this is Nico's opportunity to benefit from working alongside Michael, seeing how he approaches things, seeing where Michael's experience is helping him, and Nico can develop his approach because of that. So, and I think they'll work very well together, and working very well together, the two together will add up to much more than they would individually.
Because Formula 1 drivers are notoriously full of self-confidence, great belief in their own ability, which they sort of need to have to get into a car and drive it in the way they do. But Nico, in many ways, needs to put that to the back of his mind in some ways and take a look at what Michael's achieved. Do you think he can do that?
I think so. I think Nico will respect Michael. I think, he's got to beat Michael. That's his ambition in life. But you can do that in the right way. If you do it with respect, determination, then he'll gain a lot from it, and that's what we want to encourage Nico to do. And he's a nice guy. I don't think he'll play any. There won't be any silly games that will go on, and certainly that's not something Michael does. So I say great opportunity for Nico.
We can see a car behind you. It's not the car that you'll be racing next season or this coming season. Everybody will want to know, though, about that car. Why are you not showing it to us today? Have you got not another special secret that you don't want everyone else to know about, Ross, surely?
No, it's simply not ready. We're testing in about a week's time, and obviously the branding was developed on this car, so we needed a car to get all that sorted, and the car's not ready yet. It's being put together at the moment. Guys at the factory are working 24 hours a day to put together the car, and we'll take it to Spain this weekend coming, and we'll launch the car on Monday. But quite frankly, we couldn't afford to take the time out to bring our new car here, lose that time in the process. So it's a 2009 car, but it's not because we're trying to withhold any secrets.
Do you promise?
Promise. Yeah.
So time isn't in abundance, but I imagine that finances finally are. Having the backing of Mercedes and the sponsors that you've got, you can now really attack the season with enough money to go for the title once again. Well,
I think, as Dr. Zetscher indicated, this is this has to be a good value project. It has to be a project where we're careful about how we invest the money. The changes coming in Formula One. The size of our team is about the size that the resource restriction envisages over the next few years, so we don't have to make any major structural changes in the size of our team. We've learned quite a lot this year in what can be achieved, perhaps for a more modest budget. So Mercedes-Benz give us the security, give us the stability for the future, but we're not of a culture to throw money at things, and we want good value. And as every automotive manufacturer is having to do in this climate, you're being more cautious, more careful about how you spend the money, and we can now start to invest for the medium and long term in terms of our strategies, which we couldn't do before. So that's a big difference, and we're going to start working closely with Mercedes R&D to see where we can key in with the benefits that will bring, which is something as Brawn GP we couldn't do. So there's lots of reasons to be optimistic.
And finally, from what you've seen, does Michael have what it takes to make it 8 world titles this year?
I think he does. We've got to put the team together, and I think if we put the team together, his biggest challenge will be Nico.